my light. Hello, Kiana here. Talking about massive changes. They're coming. So you might as well get ready and go through these massive changes in alignment. All right. Just going to think of a poll question as people come on here. Poll question. Okay, just gonna let people start to join in here. Hey, sailors. What, Sarah? Oh, no. Where are my glasses? I can't see. Hey, Jerry. Good to see you. Satnam. Hello. Good to see you. Hi, Oliver. Thanks for being here. These aren't the glasses I wanted to wear, but these are the glasses that are here. All right. Welcome, y'all. We're talking today about massive changes. How to contend with massive changes. I wonder where most people get stuck with massive changes. What do you think? We're gonna wait about 5 minutes and let people join in here before I start chit-chatting about massive changes. As always, I am Kiana Sage and I guide people to peace, and I'm trying to, just put out content for this Being in Sync 366 video series that helps people to align within and really just physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually find that life, moving in the circulation of life, is much easier than being in resistance, right? So massive changes can cause a lot of resistance. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to contend with them differently. I want to come up with a question. Oh, change scares you. Okay, OCD. Okay, Jerry. What scares you about change? This is good. This is helpful. What's a question? I'm just going to ask this. Okay, I'm going to start a poll. This is an easy one. Okay, so we'll let people come in. Oh, control. Interesting. What if control is just an illusion? All right, hold on. I don't know why. Okay. All right, we're just letting people jump in here. Wait, usually about 5 minutes. Yesterday I did the video at night. It was a really good video. Hello, good to see you here. Welcome in. Today we're talking about massive change. So if you take a moment to do the poll, hi Peter, and we'll just address some different ways to move through massive change, because change is inevitable. So once we accept that change is constant, then we just have to change the way we deal with it, right? Change is a constant. Thanks for being here, Peter. Yesterday's live was really good, y'all. So if you missed it, highly recommend checking it out. So as you all know, this is the Being in Sync 366 video series. This today is talking about massive changes. Just trying to have fun with the videos. And my name is Kiana Sage, and I help people align physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And I do that through a process I call energy psychology. And I know a lot of people don't really understand what energy psychology is, and that is because it is an experience. It is an experience that not everybody has had an opportunity to experience, but it is the alignment within. And that's what I help people do every day, all day. Okay. So, just seeing, we're at about 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and start. I do think that YouTube has been, with the elections here, crazy. So people are really on another level, and YouTube has actually been not operating as it has for the rest of the year. So I don't know if it's because so many people were on YouTube, but it definitely didn't behave as it normally does. So I got kicked off. I'm getting the way that people are coming in has been different. YouTube has been different. So today we're talking about massive changes and how to contend with massive changes. And those changes could be anything from a job to a death to people getting ill to moving. It could be, run the gamut. Massive change, as I said earlier, is just constant. And it's going to be constant. And what challenges people the most with change is that they like to do their rituals. People like their daily ways of being. And when we have changes like a job or death or dying, it causes us to reevaluate. So when you have massive changes afoot, there are some things that I think would be really supportive in you being able to navigate that a little bit differently than maybe you have in the past. Especially if you're somebody who likes to control everything, that could be quite stressful on your entire system. Your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being will take a toll when you are a controlling person, because control is really about wanting and needing this safety. And massive changes often challenge our perceptions of safety. So I am going to get to the comments after I just kind of go through these 5 points, because one of the things that I think would help everybody when they're going through changes is just to really challenge your perspective, how you are seeing things. That's your perspective. We all have our own little realities in which we live in, and your reality is different than my reality. But if you are choosing a perspective around change that keeps you from being in the flow and circulation, you definitely want to reevaluate that. So understand, is your perspective in alignment with growth, in alignment with learning, in alignment with opportunity? Are you seeing the choices of your perspective really aligned with expansion? And that will be the biggest distinction. So if you're somebody who's trying to control it, it's really hard to see the expansion in it because you are mired in the details to make certain things happen. But when you are looking at something like dying and death and being with somebody who is ill, and you're looking at that experience from the place of, what is it that I need to learn in this experience? It changes everything. So challenge your perspective, because you have choice in how you are perceiving. It's not a set perspective. We all have a different one. So choose your perspective. When you see massive changes happening, choose your perspective. It's like yesterday's live. Somebody was very, very upset and angry about the elections. They have a choice in their perspective. It doesn't have to be the way they're seeing it. You get to choose your perception. So choose your perception around change. Don't be afraid of change. Maybe embrace change. Maybe that would be a new way in which you can move through it differently. Okay? The other thing that I want to say, point number 2. So once you have changed your perception, because you are changing it to make it easier for you, you want to mitigate chaos and drama. Because oftentimes when there is a lot of change, there is a lot of drama. So mitigate that. Know that when there is a change, that you can mitigate the drama by how you are engaging in it. First of all, see what is causing the drama. Look at those patterns, because those chaos and drama might cause you to become hyper active in control. So if you can mitigate chaos and drama, that will eliminate your need to control aspects. So that might mean also changing the topic of which you're talking about it. So for example, when my mother was dying, I didn't talk about my mother dying like I could have in every single relationship. It was ruling my life. I actually consciously chose to not talk about aspects of the situation because it would cause more drama and trauma. And that is not going to help me, and it doesn't help the person listening. And so I just decided to not perpetuate the drama. So, because when somebody's dying, there's a lot of drama that can be around that. So look at how can you mitigate drama and change. The third aspect with changing, with mitigating and contending with massive changes is identifying urgent issues. Mitigate, I'm getting confused. Mitigate trauma, drama, chaos, and drama. Trauma, drama, chaos. Well, because chaos and drama often cause trauma. But what the next one, number 3, is identify urgent issues. Oftentimes when we're in this thing called massive change, we tend to make things urgent that aren't urgent. And that urgency causes pressure that doesn't need to be there. So really identify what is urgent and what's a nice to have. Like if you can just make 2 columns, urgent and nice to have, that will change how you are seeing and experiencing the massive changes, okay? So you don't have to do everything at once. Urgent definitely needs to be addressed, but when you see this is a nice to have to be addressed and this is an urgent, it changes the perspective. The other thing, the fourth thing that you want to do to help address massive changes is process your emotions with learnings. So what are you learning? So for example, when you are under a lot of stress with a massive change, because change does bring stress, process your emotions. Like, what are you feeling? Ask yourself, I feel this. You don't need, just because you're having a feeling doesn't mean everybody needs to know what you're feeling. It could be something that you do on your own. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling stressed. And start to process, what do I need to learn? Do I need to change how I'm addressing this stressful situation so it mitigates the stress? Everything about change is about addressing and making incremental shifts, like 1-degree shifts, so you can make it more amenable to your adjustments. The 1-degree shifts helps. But trying to do everything all at once is very overwhelming. So process your emotions as you go. And you might say, you know, I don't even know how I'm feeling. Okay, what am I noticing in my pattern? So really start to learn, because learning will change how you are managing the change. So learning helps your changes go easier. Okay? It actually takes it from unconscious to conscious. And that's really what we want to do with massive changes, is to use them to leverage to become more conscious. You know, it's no fun being checked out and then you get whammied by a massive change and you're you're in shock. You got to get out of shock and get into the learning. That's the biggest lesson with your emotions, is how quickly can you get out of shock is going to be dependent on how quickly you can go into learning. Okay? So the gentleman that was on the live yesterday was in a lot of shock from the election. You know, he immediately got a tip to go into learning and practicing a higher level of consciousness. When we are consciously choosing, it changes our heart expression, and we don't have to be in resistance. And the fifth and final thing is this: align with circulation. So many times when people are contending with massive changes, they go into resistance. I don't want to. I need to control this. This doesn't make sense. This shouldn't be happening. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. And that's resistance. So you want to consciously choose to go into circulation. You want to be in the flow of life, not in the density of resistance. And that's really what resistance creates, which is density, and it slows down the energy flow within your physical body. And that's why so many people get tired and exhausted, is that the resistance makes them tired and exhausted. So massive changes happen for all of us. It's how we contend with the massive changes that really changes the process. It is not really about making the change stop, but changing how we are perceiving the changes. See? Okay, so let me see what you have here in questions or comments or thoughts. I do what's called energy psychology. So I help people align physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I help them eradicate patterns that keep them from expanding and growth. That's what I do. Every day, all day. Hello, Afghanistan. Thanks for being here. Hello, Samir. Hey, Sailors Life. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Love it. Mark T, thank you. Okay, any questions around massive changes? I got a poll question there. A QT says he's aligned with the Illuminati. Well, this is really going to be a showdown these coming days. Is going to be about good and evil. And you all don't have to worry. The good always shines through. But these people who are aligned to darkness, they are all going to be seen. And that being seen causes shock. So a lot of people who think that the dark ways are the path, they're going to be awoken. So just get ready. Massive changes are afoot. And these people who are aligned to darkness will be shown the light, whether they want to see it or not. And it's going to be painful for everybody. So that's why we want to learn how to see things from a different perspective. Hey, Shane, good to see you back here. Love that you're here. Thanks for being here. Hello, Ollie. Good to see you're back. I love it. Love it. Hey, Jerry. Jerry says, I take back what I said earlier. I'm not afraid of change overall. It depends what the change is, but in general, I don't like change. Okay. Thank you so much, Jer. This is a great example, and I'm going to use this to help everybody here because I can have a preference, right? I can prefer to not change, but we know change is a part of growth, do we not? And so if we understand that change is a part of growth and that change and growth can be determined by our perception, do you still want to align with I don't want to change? Because you get to choose that. That is often a term that is used at like mindset, but it's really about a choice. It's not so much about a mindset, but a choice on how you want to do your life. And if you want to not like change in general, that's your choice. But you know you could change that at any time you choose. So I would ask you, Jerry, is what's another choice that you can make about change that's just 1 degree different and would make you feel more in alignment with something that's easier and less resistant. To balance life is the most difficult thing throughout the life. Well, what if life is about just evolution and we're not supposed to be in balance all the time, that we are constantly recalibrating and rebalancing and readjusting? It's like a constant wave, like a frequency, right? And so it's not, we want to have balance, of course, we want to have stability, but that comes from noticing oftentimes when we're out of balance. Oh, Mark, thank you. Thank you for your nice compliment there. Jerry says, change in the USA scares me. I don't something in America, but as the old saying goes, America sneezes and the rest of the world catches the cold. Well, we're under what's called a global shift. And that's because we have something called a collective consciousness. And there's no escaping it. We are all in this together. That is the law of one. We are all in this together. And as we align within, that directly influences, like a ripple, the collective consciousness. Okay? So how we address change really matters. Really matters. I'm just looking for questions. Oh, so Peter, I was going to ask you think we should change the lives? I think we might change the lives. Questions about change. All my life, a number of changes. I'm from Poland. Draco, there's all kinds of changes always, but our perception of change is what I am suggesting will help the massive changes. Okay? Okay. All right here, y'all. So there's not a lot of questions about change. Let's see, does change scare you? 56% says change scares them. So let's talk a little bit about fear. Change is scary but exciting sometimes. So let's talk about change and having massive changes and fear. Fear is false, right? So we know that fears are not real, but how many of you are taking time to challenge your fears? Do you challenge your fears? Yeah. Why do so many resist change? Well, that would be because they're under a lot of influence from nefarious energies, Oliver. A lot of people resist change because, one, they're in their ego mind, and the ego does not. The ego fights for status quo. Why does it fight for status quo? Because it keeps people enslaved to a idea that they actually are in control. But when we don't have control of our mind, which most people don't, they have their minds. That's why, what is it, 85% of the populations are under some kind of pharmaceutical for anxiety or mood-altering drugs. Why? Why is that? That is because people do not have mental discipline. They do not have their ego mind in balance. And that causes them to resist change. So when the ego is active and running the forefront and the heart is not leading, that's when you will have resistance. So all resistance is going to be correlated with the mind. Because when people are in the heart, they're in the circulation of life. Hopefully that's helpful. So that's good for you, Draco. Changes for you are not a problem. It's normal. Yeah, change is normal. Change is normal. Massive changes are coming. We got to look at how we are contending with them. They happen all the time. Draco, don't worry. I decipher. Chai is saying survival of the fittest. Well, it's really going to be the survival is based on your mental competencies, right? But if you don't have your heart open, your mental competencies and your fight or flight are going to be kicked in. Some scarier changes because we all see change in our human body. No one likes to get old age in the body. Change is part of life. Well, why don't we want to get old? It's because we want to defy the norms. So if we want to defy the norms, that means we have to get real. And the reality is the body changes as you embody higher frequencies of consciousness. It doesn't get younger because you take more pharmaceuticals or do more pills or this or that. No, you have to be able to hold higher levels of frequency in order to change how you are perceiving age. I don't know. Luke is saying, I am gay. How do I confront my parents? Well, why would you want to confront your parents? Why don't you just have a conversation? I would start with how you are even addressing this conversation that you think you're going to have, because anything that starts with a confrontation sounds like it's going to be a fight. What are you fighting about? If you are being your authentic self, what is there to confront? Maybe their ideas and their beliefs, but those are their ideas and their beliefs. So maybe it doesn't have to be a confrontation, but maybe a sharing of who you believe yourself to be and what you believe yourself to be aligned with. And I think maybe from your conceptual beliefs, maybe you're not as different from your parents as you think you are. Maybe it's just this one area. And by the way, whose business is it? It's nobody's business. The only thing that your parents, you shouldn't have to confront them. It should just be a conversation. So I'd really look at how you're approaching it. And I really think that there's an agenda with people trying to have conversations through a confrontation, and it doesn't work well that way. Confrontation is a conflict. Why are you going into a conversation like it's a conflict waiting to happen? Why don't you just go into it with an open heart to share who you are and express what's in your heart instead of confronting them about something that you think about them that may not be true? I don't know. That's just what I would say, Alak. All right. Well, you're thinking, Alak, they may not accept you being gay. Let's just say they don't accept you being gay. They're still your parents, and they're allowed to have their own beliefs, just like you're allowed to have your own beliefs. It doesn't mean that you have to not have your parents. They're your mother and father are always going to be your mother and father. So why don't you just accept them and their beliefs and ask them to accept you and your beliefs? And then you can have a conversation about acceptance instead of a conversation about division. Okay? No, this live stream was originally about massive changes and really how to contend with massive changes. And And so I went through 5 aspects on how to shift your perspective of your reality. And then I'm just doing questions and answers now. Break the internet. Hey, good to see you here. So any questions about change, contending with massive changes? Somebody was asking about having a conversation with their parents. Hello, Sachin, good to see you. Draco has a great question here. Do you fear any change? And I think it's important to challenge fears. And do I fear any change? I think there are some seeded fears. That means that people have fears that they're not even consciously aware of. And so there's that. But I personally, I don't think I have any fears that I'm afraid of. I don't live my life in fear. Change happens. The worst things that could happen, I don't think about them. I live my life to the fullest, not thinking about what could happen, but doing my best to be healthy in this present moment. And that's how I contend with my life. Hopefully that helps you. But why we change for some people, like friends, family, society, because they don't like what we are and why we are. But if you are right in your ideology, well, I don't change for family, society, or friends, obviously. You could see the work that I do is quite unconventional. I have never conformed to what other people thought I should be or do. Even when I was doing more traditional consulting on leadership and executive consulting in that way, I always had a different approach. There was never another consultant that consulted the way that I did. I'm not saying that they don't exist, but I never met them. And the other consultants that I knew were just reading books and regurgitating what they read in a book and trying to help their clients navigate through things as they learned with them. That's not how I approach things. So it's just not my way. I didn't think that was working in integrity. And so I didn't consult that way. Did I make as much money as my colleagues? I don't know. Sometimes I think I did far better than many of my colleagues did because I took a different route. I didn't have competition because I wasn't competing with people who were doing status quo work. You would have to be in the top % for me to even work with you. Alok is saying, I love my parents and I don't want to be ashamed because of me. Look, I think that's a great way to start the discussion and the conversation with your parents, to share with them how much you love them and share with them how much their relationships mean to you, and that you don't want to bring any shame, but you want to be authentically yourself, and then just see how the conversation goes from there. I think that's a beautiful way to start the conversation, and it will change your relationship with your parents, but I think it will make it stronger depending on how you approach it. If you approach it with a confrontation, trust me, you're going to get division. Don't do that. Okay. MD, good to see you. All right, y'all. So it doesn't seem like a lot of people have questions about massive changes. I thought this would be a really good topic. So the biggest change with massive changes is always going to be in your perception, and then your perception guided with conscious choice, and you are in the circulation of life. Any questions about what I presented? Otherwise, we could just call it a day. We could call it a day. I usually allot about an hour for this time, but there's not so much on the chat today, which is fine. Yes, California, 12:45-ish. Yep. Peter, what do you think about the time? Because last night's discussion was a little bit different. Poland. Oh, it's late in Poland. Okay. MD is saying, what massive thing are we expecting? Well, what we know for sure is we are in the midst of good and evil. We are the light and dark. And so how we address massive changes is always going to be our perspective. Okay, y'all. Well, I appreciate you being here. My name is Kiana Sage, and I guide people to peace. I appreciate you being here. I'm here every day from 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It doesn't have to be an eternal battle. Put your notifications on if you're new here, because I come on at a different time every day. Perception, dark or light. True. Well, the perception would be based on your conscious awareness, right? All right. I love these kinds of discussions, though. Oh, hey! A friend of Ali's. All right, thanks, Ali. Draco. Everybody has their own perception. Draco, is that have to do with what I think it has to do with? Or is that your name? Why did you choose Draco? How to have a healthy perception? Oh, that's a great question, MD. What I would suggest is ask yourself, how can I see this situation as a growth opportunity? And then go through your mind, and then when you finally land on something that you can, oh, I can accept this, then that's how you got a better perception. Does that help you, MD? That would be a healthier perception, right? Looking at how you could see this situation, this change as a growth opportunity. Thank you so much. I don't follow any religion or faith. I follow the law of one, the natural laws of God. I follow the basic principles of the law of one. That's what I follow. I don't believe in religions or dogmas. I was raised Catholic, but I didn't like it. I went to a Catholic university and didn't like it even more. So religion and me, it's not what I align with. Draco, because this was a dark wizard, but I think inside was good. Well, you should go look up at DRACO, because that's more of what interesting. Dark wizard is right. Trending Express, how to get motivated when someone is being insulted. Well, you could choose to be insulted, or you could just let them have their own opinion and know that it doesn't have anything really to do with you. MD is saying, but asking too much questions will lead to OCD. How is that going to lead to OCD? If you're looking at learning and growing, if you want to consciously expand and be more aware, you must be asking, you must be learning and growing. That's not OCD, that's change. That is change. The Polish version. Sailor's Life says massive change was finding this channel. Oh, thank you so much. That is so nice. It's interesting. It's really interesting to hear that. Thank you so much. Well, I'm so glad that you are finding the higher frequencies to be much more enjoyable. Contending with the lower frequencies are a challenge. There's lots of learning in them. Going back to the soul lessons, lots of learning from our encounters, Sailor's Life, but I'm glad to see that you're experiencing greater ease. Congratulations, and I'm so glad that you're enjoying the content on here. And I see that you saw my pink hair. BGMI says, believe in humanity, why people need religion to live a life. Well, religion is it's a form of control, you see. Games. What are your thoughts on a drug addict who's done some severe mistakes in her addiction journey, but now wants to be sober and wants to dedicate her life to Christ? Will God forgive her? I think Christ consciousness is definitely a beautiful way for you to expand in your heart and to heal beyond your imagination, because your past does not determine your future, and mistakes, we all have them. So it's just really, how are you learning from them? And the more you dive in and create a deep relationship with higher consciousness like unity consciousness and Christ consciousness, and develop a direct relationship with God, you will be amazed at how easy your healing comes into play. Good for you, Games. Draco says, I'm an atheist, always believe in humanity and love. Well, the frequency of love is an interesting experience for an atheist, isn't it? Because what is love? Love is God. What is God? God is love. It's the same thing. I don't follow a universal religion at all. I don't follow a religion, period. But you call it Vedic. I don't follow a religion. So, no, I'm not saying that. Acute angle, is life even worth living? I think so. That's why you're here. The end is not here. The end, there's no death. That's the thing. There is no death. There's evolution. We just change. After this, I'm going to try and embrace change. Okay, beautiful. So, Jerry, it's not about trying. It's making a decision to embrace change. You know what? The old Jerry resists change. The new Jerry embrace change. So how does embracing change look like? It's open. It's in the circulation of life. Good for you. Let me know how that goes. Hey, Eric, good to see you. Good to see you here. Thank you for being here. Abdul, lack in developing understanding is making life the worst. Relationship is getting ahead for the separation and adjusting self-life just because of two little kids. I don't know what you're saying here, Abdul. Hey, Sophia. Is there a tipping point where the collective consciousness, where if certain percentage believes a thing, it becomes possible or the truth? Well, the truth is a frequency. From my perspective, it's not a logic or a thought or a belief. It's actually a frequency, and it's a currency. And it is something that you see and perceive through your heart. So there's that. And you're asking if there's a tipping point. I think there is, but I don't think that everybody is going to go in the same direction, if you will. So I don't know if that answers your question. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be woken up in a very rude way. And I think, we see just something as simple as a presidential election impacting and causing ripples throughout the globe. So why is that? That is because there is a collective consciousness, and how we perceive is often connected to how we believe. And so many people do not want to challenge their beliefs and their lack of beliefs in something like creation and source energy and God, and even understanding consciousness, and that they embody consciousness through the soul alignment. Some people just don't even know that. Draco, love for my family, not Catholic mythology. How can you survive emotional stress at 22 years of old? Well, first of all, you have to be willing to feel your emotions and not afraid of them. So you cannot be afraid of your emotions. So I would learn how to feel. And you learn how to feel by being more aware. And as you become more aware of your feelings, you feel your feelings. Okay? It's simple. Trending Express. I feel bad when people are wrong about a discussion. I don't really know what you're saying here, Trending. I don't have a preference of Trump or Kamala. I'm not a fan of either. And I actually would even question why is there only two options? And of the entire country, those are the two options. Seems very suspect to me. Hey Jeff, good to see you here. If death is nothing, why is it even a thing? Why does the concept even exist? Because it keeps people in fear. People are afraid of death and dying because they have not aligned within. And so they are in fear. And then their fears keep them disconnected from their heart. Love creates a higher state of consciousness. True, for sure. I guess another way to ask, Sophia's asking, another way to ask is, are all things possible to me? Well, I think that's a beautiful question. And the answer is, that depends on your beliefs, because your beliefs are what keep you limited. So I just answer your first question before getting to, or must others also believe something is possible for me to experience it? Interesting. I don't think so, but I would say, Sophia, in my own personal experience, I've known this since I was a little girl, there is some value in keeping what I call a container. So when you are seeding something and creating it and bringing it into the physical manifestation, you certainly don't want to share that with people who are going to have an opposing force in any way. So I would create a container around the things that I was creating. So I would, Sophia, look at your beliefs and look at your beliefs about what is possible for you. And because that's where you can, when you challenge what you believe, that is when you really start to pull back those ideas of limitation. But most people don't want to do that. Surgeon, you could go to Kiana.com. And let me say, I'm not going to start a poll. You can go to Kiana.com, and that is where you can book a session. Joel, do you want a double Whopper cheeseburger? I don't eat cheeseburgers. Okay, Draco's saying I have a low battery. Thank you for the best discussion about changes in my life, Kiana. Oh, thanks. I'm so glad. Draco, there's lots of stuff on here. Okay, any questions, Joel? I'm not an American soldier. If you approve, I will throw a can of tuna. Namesh, what are you even saying here? You're just being silly. Yeah, there's a lot of bots. Sophia says, do you help people unravel beliefs? I do. I help people align physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Obviously, beliefs are a part of that, but once you have a conscious understanding, once you bring in higher levels of consciousness, Sophia, it changes how you are seeing, which then changes the beliefs. So I also help people identify their soul lessons so they can be in greater alignment with their purpose. It's really interesting. I do all kinds of things. You could go look at Kiana.com if that interests you and see. But I come on here every day talking about a different topic. Today we're talking about how to contend with massive changes. And so if you're interested in being here, put your notifications on. No, I do not smoke. I've never had marijuana ever. I never have been drawn to marijuana. It's not my thing. Bourbon Hunter saying, question, have you ever heard of the physics theory of atoms? I don't know exactly what theory you're talking about in general, but yes, energy vibrates at different frequencies. Yes, and those frequencies will change your states of being. Can you explain manifestation in simple words? Man manifestation? You mean human manifestation? I mean, all manifestation works off the same principles. You have to have alignment, period. Manifestation in the physical form is alignment. All right, y'all. Well, it's been about an hour. My name is Kiana Sage. I guide people to peace. This topic was about massive changes, which a lot of you seem to be rolling with the punches. So good for you. If you are interested in this channel, we talk about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignment. I come on here every day with a different topic. And that's what I have to say about that. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the Being in Sync 366. Thanks for being here. See you. Namaste, everybody. Bye.